creativity, and all those sorts of things which are true sometimes and are always irrelevant. So I take it from here.
Thanks a lot, Santi, and all the best.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, exactly. Turn on and say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, exactly.
Hi.
Yeah, a little bit of chaos won't hurt.
Yeah.
So who do I hand it to? Is it the leopard?
Yes, please. Yes. And
Karibu Tui.
Asante. And I would like to kindly request if you would give Flora screen sharing, right? Because there's something that she's going to share later on. But yes.
Hang on, Tui. Ask that to Whitney. Have someone ask Whitney, the graduate student, to share with Flora the screen shootings.
Okay.
She's the host.
Okay, I hope Whitney has had. So yeah. Yes, so we're starting our program. Well, so I hope this lovely, beautiful, sunny day has brought good tidings to everyone and lots of happiness to you as you get to welcome Santi. Well, for me, yes, it's a great day, but I'm actually really nervous because, this is the first time I'm being an MC for this kind of event, but I am so glad to be your host for this session as we get to welcome our long gone and finally returned Santiago Legarre. So, okay, well, you'd bear with me. I decided to have an app for crowd cheering sound effects because, I can't be able to hear what's going on, the disadvantages of having virtual performance. But let me say it again. I am glad to be your host for this session as we get to welcome our long gone but finally returned Professor Santiago Legarre.
Thank you. Sally, you are a changed person. How talkative you are. I don't know you.
Well, yes, I have to because, it's all about growing up, maturing. Yes. So I hope you're able to hear the crowd, the sound effects.
Okay.
Yes. So, so I would want to hear from you. I want to I want to see whether my Spanish is getting better. So, Profesor, buenos tardes, Profesor.
Buenas tardes, Sally.
¿Cómo estás, profesor?
Estoy muy contento.
Oh, nice. ¿Cómo fue tu estadía en Argentina?
Sucks.
Oh no. Well, so for those of us who aren't able to understand Spanish, I just made a deal with Professor Santi that he's going to take me to Argentina for a holiday, and we've closed the deal. So yes, I believe that most of us.
Chuy,
Yes?
only if you bring your husband.
Why not now?
Well, propriety.
Okay. Yes, so I believe that most of us have met Professor Santiago Legarre in first year during his intro to law class. Well, my favorite memory of him is the fact that, he kept brushing his hair every time. Whenever he's talking, he's brushing his hair. Whenever he's walking, he's brushing his. And he's doing it again, yes. And and then another memory of him is the fact that he used to talk about his safaris every time, and not to forget talking about his favorite animal, the leopard Chewy. So I, being his favorite animal, I want to take this opportunity to officially welcome Professor Santiago Legarre to our fourth year law and religion class. And then I then yes, so please bear with me with the sound effects because that's the only way I can get, I can be able to get feedback. So well, without much further ado, I would like to request my learned friend, Michael Butera, to tell us more about, his memories of Intro to Law. So Michael, well, the floor, sorry, the screen, as we call it these days, the screen is yours. So Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Sally. I like the energy, it's quite, it's quite great. Also
Thank you.
we had missed Professor last time when he was in school. We used to meet over some teas and sometimes just in STC around the school and all that. He's always been a very great person, attending those Santis and a lot of things that he tells us, very, very constructive. Yeah, but again, I mean, it just sounds like it was yesterday, first year, then just like, time flies and you can't even understand how you're in fourth year, which means almost 3 years now, and you can't, I mean, like quite when I was in first year the other time. So I guess the reason I can see the list of the people here, I think most of them are the people who attend Santi, so it wasn't arbitrary, I guess. So talking about first year, my memories are much connected to the class in terms of lesson subject and not really Sant himself because he intimidated me first. I was too much philosophical. The questions, explanations were too much philosophical, but then I wasn't able to comprehend, what he meant and he was like running around circles and I couldn't figure out what's happening here. So I think I shared this with very many friends of mine who used to sit around. So we could just discuss what's happening here. But, apart from, of course, we had no exposure to philosophical unit. I think Introduction to Law was the first unit that had some heavy content, like, in interpreting things and that's when I was first introduced to natural law. And I remember Sant saying that if you're a naturalist, if you want to enjoy this, then you're not going to make it. You're not a lawyer because most of the lawyers are positivistic in nature because those written laws and all that. So again, I think the memories was that he expression. I used really to hate that I would pick on me, just like I knew I was not comfortable answering many questions and just like has this eye contact and you're like, actually this is my turn. Then just strangely he just comes away from you and you're like, I'm safe. And that day will go, another week like that. He never picked on me, unfortunately. Another memory was about also these essays we used to write, which my essay was never picked. I could wonder why Kanyugo's essay would always be picked. So I couldn't understand. And Sant could have told us that just like a random pick, he just picks and like, but how, like, I think you go like featured like in almost 3 sessions and I was like, this can't be random, picking. It has to be, maybe the guy has called it, essay. Definitely there are very many, memories. Personally, this is a honest opinion, but then first year, that was just strange to me. I'm sorry to say this, yeah. It's very strange to me, very unpredictable. Like, you can just see his next move, you know, you're gonna answer, and then he's really, really excited with the answer. Another time it's just so mixed memory. A lot of, yeah. But definitely, I think as he kept coming back, I used to attend his Santis, and we became friends. I don't know if he dies qualified, but I think cousins or something like that. But yeah, thank you, sir, and keep the energy up. I really like the motisha. So I really wanna say,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, well, that was a really, really great recall from you, Michael. And I can actually really, really relate. Let me tell you, especially the suspense part. You know, I had to make sure that before I go to Santi's class, I have to have at least something small to say. In case he got to pick on me, you know, every time, Joy, what do you think? Oh my God. So I had to be really alert. But well, because of that, at least we were able to perform really well in our exams. We were able to capture so much during the class. And yes, so thank you so much, Michael. Applause.
Yeah, also Prof needs to comment. He says that after each person speaks, yeah.
Yes, Professor, it's your turn to speak now.
I think you've muted yourself, Professor Santi. We can't hear you.
Thank you for that, Fenan. I was saying, Michael, great pleasure to see you and hear you. Can you see me and hear me, Fenan? Good.
Yes,
Good.
yes.
I beg to differ, as usual, Michael, as I think that it was not only the unit, but the person who scared you, and even scared you further on when I would ask you for help to secure a spot for Santi, the very Santi Fenan used to flee. And I chased you, Michael, and until after much unsuccessful chase, you delivered and you got us that awesome, whatever it's called, not Microsoft or something, room or auditorium. Anyways, it's really good to be back. I'd like to say something to Chewy as well before we move on. Are you there, Leopard?
Yes, I am.
I wanted to tell you that all of a sudden it's dawned on me why it is that you have a new source of energy in you and you are so new, so renewed. Shall I reveal it to the crowd?
Well, I hope I won't be so embarrassed about your remarks, but yes.
I hope that at this point you would know that you will always be embarrassed by such a remark. But at the same time, you will not hold a grudge against me, Chewy, because
Okay.
we are, what did you say, Rafiki?
Yes, we are Rafikis.
Shall I show you? Shall I show you the point where the energy gets into you that wasn't there when you were a Kandarian?
Yes.
Here is the point. Now we can move on.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. So I'm beginning to
Wait. You want me to tell you what I told my niece when she did that?
Uh-huh.
Are you sure?
Yes, go ahead. I can bear it.
I told her these,
Yes.
and also these
Yes.
are the admissible rebellion of the good girls.
It hasn't changed my character.
Well, that's what I mean. The good
Yeah.
girls, the admissible rebellions of the good girls. Then there are the bad girls,
Uh-huh.
but you don't know about those. There aren't any in Strathmore,
Yes.
as if.
Just to let you know, I am still a good girl, just with much more energy.
Well, that was the implication.
Well, yes. So, well, thank you so much for that. Yeah, feeling a bit immersed, but well, we get to move on. So next in line is first Stacy Adongo and then Mashara Mukono as they talk about their experience of learning during the pandemic. So how has it been for them? What are the perks and the disadvantages of learning during this period? So ladies and gentlemen, let's get to welcome Stacy Adongo and Mashara.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. So my name is Stacy Adongo, and Mashaya and I will be taking you guys through learning during the pandemic. I will begin to share my screen. We have a small presentation for you.
Hi, Stacy.
Hello. Okay, so before I start, I just want to say that our presentation comprises of many memes. I'm sure most of you know what memes are, and most of you interact with memes on a day-to-day basis, be it on social media or from your friends or from your family. So something that Mashaya and I saw would be fit for today's presentation was to analogize with memes, since we thought that Gen Zs, millennials, and also boomers relate to memes really well. So to start us off, let me just scroll, is the menorah. So if you can remember last week, as Mukami was teaching us, there was reference to the menorah, which is a 7-branched golden candelabra that was lit every day in the tabernacles. You might be wondering, why are we using a menorah to explain how we've been learning during the pandemic? This is because of the 7 pillars that are comprised in the menorah. So in the middle, you can see the student, and this is because this presentation is about you and I, what we've been going through, what we're still going through, and how to get through this thing. So the first point on the farthest left of your screen is exam preparations. So before we went into learning, we had to prepare for exams. And as you can all remember, when we were given notification of exam dates, we were so nervous, and we were just thinking, wow, I now have to dust my brain cells and look for the information for 3.2. Where are my books? Where are the slides? You're looking for everything to try and consolidate the information you were learning in 3.2, because chances are you forgot a lot of the things that we were taught. So the first meme on your screen, you can see a very sad emoji, and the glass in the hand represents what you are enjoying at home, be it a glass of wine, or you are enjoying sleeping in the whole day, or you are enjoying watching movies on Netflix. You are just enjoying different things, but now you have exams, and you have to get serious with your life now. So the tears are just signifying how sad it was to realize that we are back in school and we have to get serious with our lives. The second meme on your screen is possibly Humpty Dumpty lying on his side with tears in his eyes, because it was, you're thinking of how you've woken up at noon and half of your day is gone. You've woken up at 3 p.m. half of your day is gone. You need to get your books. You don't know where your books are. There's a lot of noise in the house. You're just thinking, what's going to happen? What's my fate during the pandemic? The third meme is something I'm sure happens to most of us. You are studying the whole day, and then the minute that you decide to take a break is when maybe your parent or your guardian walks into the room and they find you resting, and they ask you, "Hiya, Fanan, you're not reading. What's happening? You have exams. You're not studying." And you're just sad, you're disappointed because you're thinking, I've been studying the whole day, and this is the point at which you found me. Please cut me some slack. And the fourth meme for this section of the presentation is this poor boy holding onto his head because you are trying to remember everything that you were taught, where you're trying to remember everything, where everything is placed, where are your emails, where are the emails with the slides, who taught this, which classes did I miss, where can I get information on the same. So the second ambit is online exams. So with regarding online exams, we were told how the exams would be conducted on e-learning, and at least you know that the exams are going to be open book, so you're not going to struggle too much because you can refer to your books, or so you thought. So the first meme here says, I don't understand the question and I won't respond to this. And this is in reference to question 1, which most times is always a very long question. It's a very long question, sometimes taking 2 pages of your exam paper, and you're just thinking, there's so much information on these papers, what am I supposed to refer to? You're trying to understand the question, you're thinking, what is being looked for here? You're only seeing one topic, but question 1 is always a consolidation of more than one topic. So you've read the question, you've read the entire thing, you don't understand anything, time is going, and you're thinking, what am I supposed to do? The second image, ignore the drink in her hand, but the second image, look at the facial expression. And this is when a topic you are sure wouldn't comes in your exam, and it's probably like, explain the history of XYZ, and you're thinking, wow, did I even attend the first class? Do I even know what the history of human rights law is? What am I supposed to write for 15 marks? There's so much to share. What am I supposed to say? You don't know.
Stacey,
Then, yes?
why should we ignore the drink in her hand? Shouldn't we ignore the toilet paper instead?
That's probably paper towels from the kitchen. So
oh, it was a joke, Stacey.
I know.
Go ahead. How many more slides to go?
Not too many. I'm going to go through them really fast.
Go ahead.
And then the next meme is written in Kiswahili, and it says, "Ni wasee mnakuanga aje." And I could try and roughly translate this to, surely guys, why are you like this? I think that's my very rough translation of what this is. And this is probably when your classmates are discussing the paper after you've done it, and you're just thinking, I didn't even do that question, or that's not how I tackled the question. And you're stressed because why would anyone ask me what I wrote in the paper, because I can't revise my answers. I already submitted my work. And then the last meme of this section is this lady happy, because everything, you should always find happiness in everything. It's never that serious, and you should find yourself smiling regardless of how difficult the situation is. This is something I always tell my friends. You can laugh at yourself. Then finally on my section is starting off classes. So as you can remember, the first weeks of classes, we were trying to acclimatize ourselves to learning online, and waking up early, because you've been waking up at 3 p.m. for 3 months, and now you have to get ready for class early in the morning. And this first meme is just a depiction of me and Anne Wairikia when Anne is waking me up at 10 minutes past 8, when class begins at 8:15. And I'm just so stressed, and I'm just thinking, honestly, 8 a.m. again. Like, I've not woken up at 8 in 3 months. How can I survive this class?
Stacey,
The second, yes?
who is waking you up?
Anne Wairikia.
I don't know a Wariga. I know an Mburu.
That's the same person, Anne Buru Wairikia.
No, Stacey, I know. You need to remember me.
Okay,
Who else is in that house?
Who else?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next meme is
Who else?
Who else?
In
Who
that
else?
house?
What?
Is in that
Oh
house?
no, it's not in the house. It's through a phone call.
Ah,
Yeah.
what? Do you pay her at least?
Yes, with my friendship.
Oh, that's very smart, but I won't accept it. Go on.
So the second meme on this section is when, luckily for the lecturers that don't request you to switch on your cameras, and you can be in bed while you're in class, and chances are you will fall asleep, but I mean you're still in class, so that's what counts. And then the last meme for my section is where the lecturer calls upon you during class, and you had probably gone to make a sandwich, or you weren't paying attention, and they ask you, Jal Marie, what do you think about this concept? What are your thoughts on this? And you have no idea. And since it's online classes, there's no one physically around to tell you what was happening. So your best bet is just to switch off the Wi-Fi or to leave the call and just hope that next time you'll say that the connection was poor. Yeah. So I'll hand over the presentation to Masharia to continue.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hello, everyone. So
Speak louder, please.
hi, can I be heard?
Just.
Oh,
Good morning, good afternoon.
good afternoon. Can I be heard now?
A bit better.
Okay. So
Were you interested at some point in coming to Argentina?
yes, I was.
You see how your interest wasn't thwarted by the girls, but by a virus.
Yes.
So you were better off in the end. Good for you.
So my part of the presentation was on getting used to online learning, then the mishaps and what's going on right now. The last time, for me, the last time I saw Santi or interacted with Santi, I was an advocate, right? Yes, the last time I had Santi in class as my lecturer, I was an advocate. It was also unlike Michael, I had a chance to have one of my essays picked in that class. It was a heavy comparison between my essay and Adrian's. I still remember that. But it was an interesting comparison. I think he was also the first lecturer to realize that I was in Strathmore without asking me. So yeah, those are just.
I think you mean Strathmore School, right?
Yes.
Perhaps you should clarify. Maybe not.
Yeah. So he was the first lecturer to just do that. So getting used to online learning, I'll just talk about it more from my experiences. I realized that routines can be extremely important, especially if you, like me, sometimes suffer from low concentration spans, especially when you have a lot to do. So I struggle to start the first few weeks of online classes because I find myself struggling, for example, to just look through a screen when I can't interact. I find that it's a barrier for me. I generally don't speak to people, but online has made it even worse. So going to school was kind of a good thing for me because of the routine that it settled in for me. Secondly was working from home, especially with writing your dissertations, not being able to access the library, not being able to meet with your lecturers face-to-face or your supervisors, especially when you have supervisors who've decided not to respond to emails. I'm lucky that mine responds, so at least I can't complain to that, but the rest of people in this class, I know some people who are really struggling with their supervisors, so it's a bit tricky. And then getting used to working from home with people at home, right? So I always have my mom at home most of the time. She only leaves like on days like today when she's traveling to a farm. But starting off, I had my sister and my niece at home, which was really hectic because my sister was teaching from home. Coincidentally, her school semester ended at the time when mine was starting. So my first point of call was to ship them off as fast as possible, because I really don't like them when they're at home. And also because my niece is really, really annoying and I'll say even irritating, because I just generally don't like spending too much time with them at home. But yeah, so settling in, not having to go to school. I guess for me, the best thing about settling in was that I don't have to commute, because I used to get back home at 10 or 11 in the night because of traffic. So that commute has been saved. I think that for me is the biggest advantage for studying from home. Other than that, I think I'd have preferred to just go on in school, but that's my preference. That's my preference. Mishaps during online learning. Tim can tell you about the Ginger turbines in more detail. We had power outages at the start. I think now most people are not experiencing power outages, but we had a lot of power outages at the start of the pandemic. We've also had, if you're like me, then you do not have Wi-Fi at home. And if you're like me and Vianney, you only realize that school bundles deplete when you use other apps like YouTube and Twitter and Chrome and general browsing, and they deplete your school bundle. So you only realize that when the message came through that your e-learning bundle was depleted, and you had to then start making connections with Safaricom to try and get, as many bundles as possible for the rest of the month. The other thing has been awkward noises in the background. I think I now know who has a pet and who doesn't from the few classes I've had. I know whose bedroom is next to the toilet and whose bedroom is not next to the toilet. I know whose parents are in the house and whose parents are not in the house. Outside of classes, I've seen some very interesting tabs when people share their screens. Wow. Those gave me a bit more insight into people's lives. So I've seen some very interesting tabs when people share their screens. And then, then there are people with device problems like Edmond, whose face we've never seen. We only hear his voice. So I had to find a new device. I've had to borrow my mom's laptop since the pandemic started, because I can't use the video on my laptop decided the camera can't really work. So I've had to borrow a laptop from my mom for classes like this where we have to switch on our videos. Otherwise, I'd have been using the other machine that doesn't have an audio or a video. So right now, how we are coping, downloading recordings. I think that is something that I will not get used to. Like being able to listen through a class, especially if I wasn't paying attention, but having the possibility of having the class repeated to me word for word, everything that happened, is something that will take getting used to. I think we have some interesting lecturers and interesting teaching styles, with new lecturers having new teaching styles. Not very, I don't prefer what's happening with some of the lecturers or some of the units, because exams are almost here and we are halfway through the semester. I have no idea what's happening in some units. And I think going on, I think we'll just have to follow through. But we're happy that you're back. And let's see where this online law and religion takes us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me say a word.
Santi, Professor Santi, before you continue,
Sure.
Could you just give me 2 minutes to finish off with the presentation before you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Mashaya has already done the explaining for the final three aspects. So settling in, I think you can see the first photo. That's Jerry from Tom and Jerry, and he looks happy, which is not something you see a lot. And that's just when you're understanding the concepts in class, and you can participate because you understand everything. The second picture should depict how easily you can explain the concepts to your classmates and to your friends because you've understood them, and it's easy for you now to also share the knowledge with other people. And then the third and the fourth is when a lecturer asks you a question and you know your stuff, so you can easily answer the question, and things are going really smoothly. So on hiccups, here you can see a baby biting on a chicken, and this is just to show how background noise, there could be children in the background, or there could be a dog barking, which happens in my house. Both things, dogs are barking, children are running around, someone is crying. So there's a child that's up to some mischief, and you don't know what it is because you can just hear noise, but you're in class, so you can't leave. But once you answer a question, everyone can hear you. The second is when your parent or your guardian decides to be around you during class and they want to speak to you, or they're on a phone call, so a lot is happening and the noise can be heard in the background. Fernan has experienced this quite some time, and this is just your reaction to everything that's happening, and you're just wondering how is the semester going to proceed. Will I lose participation marks for the noise? Can I not speak in class? And then the last one is this man begging, and this is you begging KPLC not to take away electricity if you're having a group presentation, or for Zuku to just behave, or that your bundles haven't lapsed because you've been on YouTube using them. So the last aspect is participation in reading, and this is just when you're comfortable with the material, which I think most of us should be now. It's week 7. I think we've gotten used to learning online. And the first picture says that's a good wisdom. That's just when maybe you've made a great contribution in class and the lecturer gives you a virtual pat on the back. The second one is marinating in self-confidence, which is basically when you've answered a question well, or you were able to understand the concepts well, and even when you go to sleep at night, you know that the school fees is doing the work. You are present in class. And then the second last one is when a lecturer asks you a question and you can easily answer it. I know this picture is making Giles very happy because she's in love with Rihanna. So this is just, when the lecturer poses a question to you and you can easily answer it, and you can even contribute to the material that they've given. And then finally is experiencing joy, which is we hope is what's going to happen at the end of the semester when we take our exams and we all pass. Yeah, so that's the end of our presentation. Sally, back to you.
Wow, thank you so much, Stacy and Masharia. Oh my gosh, the memes and the experiences that you guys have had were so funny. And, sadly, we couldn't be able to, see the reaction behind the screens. So, well, I got you. So I have a laughing sound effect that will cover, will show how much your jokes were funny. Can you hear? Yes. So, so yes, I really got to enjoy it. Yes. So another experience that according to me was from the learning during the pandemic thing, is the fact that my soul has been saved from the nightmares of passing fashion corps. Let me tell you, I feel like my mental health has improved because of, the reduced anxiety and the near heart attacks of passing fashion corps, and making sure that you're walking in a way that, maybe your cleavage is not being seen, or your pants aren't tight, making sure that your bag is hiding your back so that you're not told that your pants are too tight, or, something of the sort. So, oh my gosh. Well, because of that,
Leopard.
because of that very scary thought, please, Magdalene Mohio, give us a very beautiful piece.
Hang on, wait. Leopard.
Yes?
I have good news and bad news.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I want to hear the good news only.
Well,
Yes.
with me, something you should know is whenever I say I have good news and bad news,
Yeah.
I'm referring to the same thing.
Oh.
One and the same thing is good news and bad news. So, Chewy, I have good news and bad news.
Mm-hmm.
You choose.
Well, if it's one and the same, then let it be.
Let it be the good news.
Yes.
This is being recorded.
Oh,
And
oh my.
anyways, I think that police women,
Yes.
maybe, you can have a word with the Chinese government and have it censored, some censorship for their YouTube accounts.
For sure. For
So
sure.
that they don't backlash in second sem when you come back to town.
Yes. Otherwise, I'd have spoiled for everyone. Yeah.
Anyways, Macharia and Stacy, remember what I thank you for your words and for the very, very interesting slide presentation. That Rihanna slide, we can also hope that the police women won't receive it at their ends, I suppose. I just wanted to tell you, I'm glad to hear some people appreciate my sense of humor as I see Anne texting with someone. And that's what I was going to say. Nice should be erased from the dictionary and replaced by good. But another term that should be replaced from our dictionaries is what is cherished by most as the gold of the pandemics era. And that gold, G-O-L-D, gold, is the ability to multitasking. That is a sheer disaster. For example, as I was listening to Macharia, I was very tempted, as perhaps was Anne or others, to send a message to PJ asking him something, or I was tempted to send a message to Flora asking her something, and I did. And I'm sure many of you did likewise, instead of focusing on Stacy's and Macharia's presentations. In person, in my class at least, you would think it twice before texting or doing anything other than looking into my eyes, because I would strangle you otherwise, because I'm not nice. Of course, metaphorically strangle you, just in case. So we need to struggle against what we've learned and what everyone loves, which is multitasking, drinking while I'm learning, chatting while I'm listening, and so on and so forth. Which is why, although I love it, I'll have you not chatting, not even with me, during class, except in case in which it seems necessary in the service of the class. Because, for example, I forgot to turn on my mic and there's no other way to reach me. Now, you can cheat, of course, and you will. You will have the ability of doing that without my being able to strangle you and to see it. But it is my naive hope that what I have to say will be so attractive that you won't. Back to you and to Magdalene, Chui. And we need to start wrapping up or pacing more the whole thing.
Okay, no problem. So yes, so next up is Magdalene Muhyo. She's going to bless us with her very, very nice piece of spoken word. So Magdalene, welcome.
Thank you, Sally. So first off, guys, you have to forgive me because there's so much background noise. Oh God, there's a pastor preaching. But if you hear praise God, just say amen and let's continue. So yeah. So I wanna do something illegal, Santi. You'll allow me. I wanna do a voiceover on my online dating experience during COVID-19.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know it's illegal. Just I hope you'll judge me and I hope you'll enjoy
Of
as
course,
well.
I judge you. I'm the
Okay.
number one matchmaker.
Hope you'll do that for me this time. Anyways, so
Oh,
it
you
is
don't need it.
3:15 a.m. on Sunday. Sorry?
You don't need my help. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll do it by myself then. So let me start. It is 3:15 a.m. on Sunday, the 20th day of self-quarantining at home, a rather warm and cozy morning, if you ask me. I have not flinched nor set my eyes on the usual attention-seeking, too lanky for their nature mosquitoes that have faithfully cast every night for the past 20 years or so. Neither have I caught wind of the goosebumps forming on my skin that are an indication of how subtly I'm enjoying this particular night. Tonight, even my old and rusty curtains look happy for me. They have this distant, appealing glow that I just cannot explain. God damn it, you can see it in my eyes, feel it in my fingertips. A girl has been typing all night. Here, it in my too frequent chuckles, some pretentious, and well, if you're a seer, you definitely can read those bloody love, bloody suckers emotions of mine doing a number on my overall love thirsty soul. Heck, it is embarrassing to have to explain that you have a whole world of emotions and preoccupation for a figure in the internet who could very well be and mostly is either non-existent or irritating. Babe, I cannot wait for this coronavirus thing to be over. I'm thinking of paying a flight over to Nigeria. How do you like it? And babe, my friends and family really like you. Where have you been all my life? And finally, this one punchline that makes even the finger-licking and drum-beating gods of Kaswende, whose only provision is cowardice and only power is pure lies, cry out in disappointment. Babe, in all my 26 years of existence, I have never set my eyes on such a beautiful girl like you in my country and even the 20 countries I've visited. My friends can't believe they're truly single. Insert my 50 zillion smears after becoming woke. It is 1:30 a.m. in Abuja, Nigeria, and yours truly at 3:30 a.m. Kenyan time has been learning Pidgin English in partial fulfillment of our expectations as wife to be after the pandemic is over. Her heart melts at every romantic gesture, at the very least hint of a promising future with the love of her life. Oh, what depths we can go to satisfy our grueling desires. So just like that, this little heart of mine has love traveled to a big city in Nigeria, pure suckers. Lately, she even gives the excuse that her heart is too big for Kenya, hence her love brewed in the land of Fufu. For lack of a better name, Bacheta, I dare need to acquaint him. Can you just call him Mr. Sakas? Yeah, that sounds nice. So Mr. Sakas must be drowsy by 1:45 a.m. Nigerian time because he immediately lets me know that he wants his princess to lie down till morning so that she does not fall ill from insomnia. What a caring young Hausa man who uni has been material. Nonetheless, I am quick to let him know that it is okay to chat since you're not going to chat to prepare tomorrow anyway. So no response. I sulk and retreat to bed at 4 a.m. Mr. Sakas is the federal representative for something in Nigeria, I can't remember. And is an architect by profession, a well-bred computer scientist, and a self-made expert businessman. I mean, how perfect. Aren't you all looking for success stories? This pure bliss does not even last the wait for 3 months for things to get real face, if there's even such a face like that. Because 5 days later, Mr. Sarkis properly wears his clown outfit, ready to meet me at our wedding, which I also would have loved to attend, just like you, my fellow clown. Trust me, I'm rethinking my IQ test results of 105 just as you are. babe, I just need $10 to pay my rent. I'm really sorry I had to come to you. I did not usually borrow from women and not even for my pension. Just understand the corona situation we're in right now. To say the truth, I've not even put food in my mouth for several days now, and you know how I love fufu. I promise I'll double the amount once all this is over and you're safe in my hands as my wife. Well, I had fallen in love, but not so hard as to actualize a money transfer to a non-current liability. So my carefully crafted reply went like, Habs for husband. I'm sorry for this. Unfortunately, I'm unable to send any money because we are in similar circumstances. I thought you could help me since you told me your net worth is 300 million naira. I suggest we use it since you're a family. Habs. Dear brethren, I present to you the last that was ever said of a full-blown relationship leading to online marriage for you to clear the doubts you ever had of online dating. Mr. Sakas did not hesitate to block me on all social media platforms and call me a miserable lass with cheap internet bundles. Coupled with a whole lot of other stories and experiences I've had of cons of the internet, my unsolicited advice then becomes, can we go easy on the internet and let it just be the internet? Needless to say, I'm yet to see the internet rebuking Mr. Sakas or even offering to cajole me into closure. This pandemic is a disaster we are struggling to contain in our own ways, socially, economically, blah, blah, blah. Add heartbreaks to the cooking disaster. The loneliness could be creeping, but it is not yet necessary to force the World Health Organization into declaring full-blown heartbreaks a pandemic after this one. Thank you.
Wow. Oh. Wow. 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 I have no words. I am dumbfounded.
Chewy,
Thank you.
Chewy,
Wow.
now you know how to find a husband.
Yeah.
Magdalene,
And it seems I'll be calling him Mr. Sakas. Wow.
Magdalene,
Yes, thank you.
I have good news and good news
Yeah.
for you. Which one do you prefer?
Wow. Both good news.
They are one and the same thing. This is being recorded.
Oh, wow. It's okay. It's illegal, I know, but really.
I hope Magdalene, you appreciated Mr. Big's story in the video you had to watch for today.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you did not watch it.
I actually watched it, but couldn't hear the voice properly. But yeah, I tried.
Okay, if you try again with headphones, then you'll hear Maureen Ngetich, a Coastarian, making a fable not too dissimilar to yours.
Okay. I will. Promise.
Back to you, Sally.
Wow, Magdalene. Wow, that was really, really nice. Yeah, so hey, I really pity your husband from Nigeria, but I wish you all the best in your marriage. So,
you know what, Chewy?
yes.
I think maybe Magdalene has been reading too much Chimamanda.
Yes. Yeah, she probably has.
Not really.
By the way, I received a message from the coast. May I share it with you, Chewy?
Yes.
From the coast. One Natasha.
Yes.
Ciao. Will be our guest in today's and perhaps in other of these law and religion sessions. So, karibuni Natasha.
Karibu Natasha. Karibu
Natasha.
Yeah. So,
okay, what next?
Yes, so next in line is PJ Gadaya and Flora Ikwa. So they're going to talk about personalized teaching. So basically, just to elaborate a little bit on what this means, it means that these students they're going to explain the experience of how, they've been working side by side with lecturers and got to learn a few things here and there outside class. So basically, in simple terms, just for laughs, that they are their lecturers' disciples. So anyway, PJ and Flora, tell us about your discipleship with your lecturers. Welcome, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction, Sally. And I'd just like to say welcome again, Santi. We're really glad to have you back. So in terms of personalized teaching, I think Sally has really defined it well for us. Also, sorry about the dog in the background.
Doesn't bother.
Okay. So yeah, basically meeting with our lecturers inside the classroom, and in this particular context, we'll be talking about Santi. So I will handle Santi, the meetings we'd have once a week after school. They're really pleasant, actually. We'd meet once a week in the evenings, and it was a gathering of minds and eager students who'd really want to listen to Santi and also discuss things amongst ourselves. I think for me, what set it apart from other normal meetings between students and lecturers is that we'd actually have snacks. So one person would be tasked with buying, let's say, maybe sodas and biscuits and crisps for everyone, and then we'd pay at the end. But the point of this discussion wasn't just to sit with each other. The point was, the point of the meeting wasn't just to sit. The point was to have, meaningful discussions between us. So maybe somebody would ask a question and we would debate about it with Santi, or we'd be listening to Santi tell us about his adventures, traveling the world, traveling Kenya, and that was especially interesting. Yeah, it was a very enjoyable time. I'm sure all of us will cherish, those of us who attended, those of us who didn't Skype the meetings. I think we'll all cherish that particular experience. It ended up in something called the List of Wandia, and I'll allow Flora to explain that in her part of the presentation. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, PJ. Good afternoon, everyone. As PJ said, when we'd attend Santi, we'd give our details and you'll be part of the List of Wandia. And to give a bit of background about List of Wandia, it was founded in 2016 by Professor Santi and Wandia. And from this list, it was a way for former students of Professor Santi, that is from Strathmore Law School, from Notre Dame, and from Louisiana State University, for us to keep in touch with Professor Santi. And from this list, we'd receive articles, books for those who enjoy reading, short videos, and my favorite parts being movies. And guys, when I say movies, I mean the latest movies, the ones in cinema, not just classic movies. Another thing I loved about List of Wandia is that it wasn't just a one-way channel communication from Santi to us, it was also from us to Santi. So if you had something interesting, say you wrote an article that you'd like for other people to read, would share this through Professor Santi. And it was also interesting, since I'm interested in traveling, learning on and listening on how Professor Santi used to travel and his travel experience, which was also really nice. And to close up, I'm happy to announce that Professor Santi will be coming to Kenya, and those who will be interested in having a personalized teaching with him, that is asking questions about research, perhaps writing, perhaps studying abroad, or anything really, he'll be having sessions with us. So you just book an appointment on email and we can meet, obviously considering the coronavirus measures that have been put in place. And I'm sure he'll give us more information about this. So we wanted to keep our presentation short, so we'll hand it back to Sally. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for talking about your work with Santi and the List of Wandia, what you've been learning. Wow, oh, Professor Santi, oh, Professor of Knowledge, thank you so much.
Thank you. May I say a word? May I say a word, Chui?
Yes, sure, man of knowledge, sure.
Oh, come on, give me a break. The only thing I know is about this thing here. PJ, do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
Chewy, do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
Should I read from it or should I refrain?
Well, you can read from it.
Of course. PJ?
Sure, why not? Go for it.
Are you still riding a bike?
Yes, I am. I mean, not presently, for sure, but yeah, I still ride.
What do you mean by not presently?
I mean, I'm in class now. I'm not riding at the moment.
Don't be ridiculous. Dear Santi, our time was short, but I learned a lot. In the law, I was cold, but now I grow hot. You do more than develop a lawyer who would only go to court. You guide the brain, the person, to be of good report. Thanks for everything. Looking forward to Santi next year. PJ Gathaiga, 2017.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
Here goes another one. Dear Santi, I hope you're well. It's been a great opportunity to meet you and to be taught by you. Thank you so much for being a great mentor and ally to me and bringing about much influence in my life, I wish. For the little period we've known each other, your writings and philosophical look on life is really amazing. I wish you all the best, Sally Chewy.
Oh, wow. Yes, yes, and I really meant those words.
Thank you. You wrote them on the stairs of the then brand new building while the Sweet 16 was going on.
Yes, I do remember.
Flora, thank you for that, Flora. If anyone would like to join the list of Wandia, you just drop Flora a line, an email, and she'll make a package and send. Although around 20 of you or so are already in it, but you're all very welcome. What next, Sally?
So after all the speeches and the experiences, so now up next is a performance by the beautiful and confident Lorraine Mamushe and her best friend, her dad. So, well, so she wasn't able to do a live performance. So I believe that Flora Ikua will be screen sharing the video that she recorded with her dad. So Lorraine Mamushe and Fitio dad, welcome through Flora.
Welcome.
Sally, it will be actually Timothy Sang. I hope he's ready to share because people with MacBook, they have better quality. So he'll be presenting he'll be screen sharing.
Okay, so Timothy, I hope you're ready.
Yes, I am.
He is ready. Hello, Timothy. I had seen you already.
Oh, hi, Santi.
Hey.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Here is Wamoshe's performance with her best friend. Yes, we try.
Hi. Usiponipenda mtapendwa na nani? Nitakuwa mgeni wa nani? Ukiwa mbali nami nabaki tabani, ona nahisi kisirani hawa, haina maana mina wewe kuzozana, ona tunasimangana, hatuwezi semezana, my love, haina maana mina wewe kuzozana, ona tunasimangana, hatuwezi. And even though we fight all night and day, I know sometimes in love there can be pain. And even though we need a little break, I know that you'll come back to me. You know that I'll come back to you. 'Cause that's when you start to feel my love. Feel it. That's when you feel it. That's when you start to feel my love. Feel it. That's when you feel it. And even though we fight all night and day, I know sometimes in love there can be pain. And even though we need a little break, I know that you come back to me. You know that I'll come back to you. And that's how you start to feel my love.
Wow.
Wow, 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 wow. Oh my, let me even get the applause sound effect. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's loading. Well, Wamoshe, we have really, really felt the love. Wow, wow. That was really, really sweet. I love your voice. I love how you played, your dad played. That was really, really great. And we've certainly felt the love.
Chewy,
Yes?
you believe me capable of crying?
I would love to see, the fact that actually this is being recorded and I can rewind to see you crying.
Want to look at the tears are here.
Oh.
I was so moved. You want to know why?
Why?
Because of the father and daughter.
Yes. That was
By the
so
way,
lovely.
congratulations, Wamushi Lorraine. That was beautiful. Thank your father for me.
Yes.
By the
That's
way, Chewy, whose guitar is behind you, Chewy?
It's mine, but I am currently learning. So my skills are really, really rough.
Okay, that's what they all say. Would you like to play for me to sing in our last lecture in 5 weeks' time?
The last, fine. I will try my best. I will practice. Yes.
Okay, I'll let you know my song.
Okay.
My song for the attorneys. The advocates had their song, as Macharia would know, 3 years ago. So what next, Chewy?
So the next in line is our class presidents, attorneys' bosses. So they're going to tell you what exactly is their role, so that whenever you're having any situations, any problems, you can refer to them. And, if you want to communicate to us, you go to them. So, well, that's us.
Are they like the politicians of sorts of the group?
Well, yeah, they are. I mean, they take care of our rights. They really take care of our rights. So I believe they do a really good job.
Case, as politicians tend to be wordy people, you need to tell them to shorten their speeches as we're running out of time.
Okay, sure. So our attorneys, bosses, Timothy and Jael, the screen is yours. So you can tell us briefly what you do, and then we move on to the next thing. So
hang on. Chewy, hang on. Would I be right to say that Jael is like a forerunner of your nose club?
The forerunner of what?
Of your nose club. In the olden days, I think. Let's see what she says.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor Santi. I don't have the nose piercing, but I do have the ear piercings. So probably it's almost the same thing. Yeah. Tim is supposed to speak before me, if that's okay. Yeah.
What happened with the MacBook?
Okay, as we wait for him to come back and be able to speak. So my name is Jael Marere. I'm the female representative of the attorneys class. Basically we assist in regards to relaying information between you and the class. So in the current times that we're in, most of this is going to go through via emails, or if you want a WhatsApp group open for the class for specifically the unit, that's what we're going to be doing. If you want any articles or any readings to be done before the class that the class should be aware of, that's what we do. I wish I had a performance, or I had the singing skills, or I had commissioned a portrait of you, because I'm an artist. Probably next time we meet each other, I could give you a portrait of yourself. But yeah, we're really happy to have you here, and we're glad. Yeah, and we're glad to finish off the semester with you. Yeah.
Jael, I have good news and bad news for you.
Give me both.
You will be able to give me the portrait in 3 weeks' time, so start painting.
I'll be happy to. Thank you.
Sure. Timothy?
I'm sorry for that, my name is Timothy San. I'm the co-class rep with Jael. And in the interest of time, I just say that we've been looking forward to have you. Having you, and we hope for a smooth transition. We hope for an amazing final year with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I just froze.
Thank you. Thank you, Timothy.
Yeah, so thank you so much for taking care of our needs, Jael and Timothy. Thank you so much for being there for us. Sometimes it goes unsaid, but we don't take you guys for granted. So yes, thank you so much. So next we have the welcoming address. Now this is the final speech. The welcoming address from Anne Riga. So just in case some of us had forgotten who Professor Santi is, what his likes are, what his qualifications are, the professors from Harvard. Anne Riga will get to tell us more about this man in front of our screens. And, if you want to steal his heart, you can write a few things here and there that Anne says, and then you get to be his friend later. So Anne, the floor is yours, and Santi will tell us how it feels to be talked about, in such a beautiful way. So Anne Riga, welcome.
Sally, I think you've misled people, but yes, Santi is a great professor.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
What can you see?
Santi, first of all, I want to say welcome to probably what you consider the final lap of Strathmore Law School. I think this is the last semester we'll be together as a class before we are split into different groups. And I can say it's been an honor to be in this class. And to my classmates, I think you're all amazing people. We have watched each other grow. We have helped each other grow. And I hope one day I can look back and say, this Chief Justice was in my class, or this CEO was in my class, or so-and-so was in my class. And I really look forward to it. And I believe in all of you. Now on to Santi. This is a big welcome. So Santi, I know you not as a professor, but as someone who has the most intimidating movie list and the most intimidating reading list. And I could say for a fact that during quarantine, you've sent so many movies and so many reviews to the point that you even have an elaborate system as to how you grade them. And this runs from A for any movie Scarlett Johansson to what you consider an E, which you call Netflix, and use the terms poo. And come to think of it, there was once I tried counting the number of movies you've actually posted, and I got to 65. And I decided I won't continue counting because I began to question my philosophy in life. And even at some point I wanted to ask you, maybe Santi, I think it's time you get another PhD, but lo and behold, my KCSE certificate was staring at me. I barely even have a degree, so who am I? But in this elaborate list of movies, there are some that I want to read some of the reviews you've given. So for the good movies, you've said inspiring, lovely, A+. But for the terrible movies, these are the some of the reviews he's given. So one is, I forgot there could be such a terrible movie. Pretty awesome, very, very dark. Emma Watson, please go back to playing Hermione and Harry Potter. One of them was, give me a break. Another one was, this is verbatim, OMG, why did I watch this? Why do I always put myself through this? And probably want to summarize all the Netflix movies is, I hate Netflix so much. I think I could make a career out of hating Netflix movies. And my appeal to you at this point would be, please, when you're marking our papers, please look upon us with favor. Let it not be, I forgot there could be such a terrible paper. And please go back to high school. Jael, please go back to high school. Sally, please go back to high school. Or OMG, why did I become a lecturer? So Santi, please put us in the A and A+ category and be kind to us, because I don't think even Chris Hemsworth can survive some of the critiques you've given him over the past few months. But jokes aside, it would be very interesting to see what you have in store for us. I do know you sent us a video, but the lawnmower stole the show. It was pretty loud, but well, we tried our best. And other than that, we really look forward to learning. And thank you so much, and karibu.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was so, Prof. How do you feel about it? How do you feel, you being talked about? Tell us.
I will answer your question, Chui.
Yes.
As we start the second half, the serious half of today's class in 20 minutes at 10 a.m. my time, 4 p.m. your time. What about that, Chui? You think it's a good idea?
That's okay. And before that, we can close off with a beautiful performance by Can You Go? So this is the last thing on our list. And then later on, Antoinette will now start us off with the next session as she tells us what we've covered so that, we can be able to continue.
Perfect. So Antoinette will start at 4 p.m. And now the performance.
Now Can You Go? Yes. So Can You Go, our very talented artist. So for this to work, I would urge all of you to pin your videos on Can You Go so that you can be able to see him perform. Yes. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh, and before Can You Go starts, I would like to, because now we'll end with him. So I decided to have a special, celebration by my own to celebrate your welcoming. So I decided to have cake. So Santi, on your behalf, here's cake.
Nice.
And our finishing song, You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine. You never notice how much much. I love you. But only if you give us that A and Harvard. So anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for being with us during this session. It's been lovely. Thank you so much for the beautiful comments. Yes, so as we close our session, can you go please close for us with a beautiful, beautiful piece? Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Hello. Can everyone hear me? I really hope everyone can hear me. Can someone please unmute themselves and tell me if they can hear me?
Yes, can you go?
Yes,
We can.
Thank you. Okay, so I really hope, I'm trying to do a lot of technical things here, so I really hope that everything works out. But yeah, please enjoy. Okay, let's see.
Wow. Performance.
If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why, cause you do me that way, why, tell them that it's human nature. Why, does she do me that way? I like living this way, I like living that way.
Thank you.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Thank you so much, Kanyugo. Oh my goodness! Oh my God! I've just been jamming behind the screen. Man, I hate this virtual thing, but oh, wow! Thank you so much. That was wow. What do you think, Santi? What do you think? Can you say that's talent right there?
Yeah,
Santi,
I mean,
what
I
do you
was
think?
like, as you
Yeah,
say, woman, that was
yeah,
like, wow, man.
yeah.
Is this the very Eugene who used to take photos for me?
Can you imagine? Yeah.
Is he a Strathmore schoolboy?
Yes, he is.
Oh
He'll tell you
man,
about himself. So,
what a
Eugene,
memory Santi has. Well done, Eugene. I'll see you then in 15 minutes, guy.
okay, thank you so much.
See you in 15.
This one is even here.
Well, I am a bit saddened by the
Yes.
fact that I couldn't host you in this part of the world.
It's okay, we understand the circumstances. They're unavoidable.
Well, they are neither unavoidable nor do I understand them, but there you are. Maybe we mean the same with different words.
Probably.
So much so they aren't unavoidable that I'm going to you.
Yeah, that is true.
But who knows, maybe life will give you a second chance in Argentina.
Yes, hopefully, fingers crossed that that shall happen.
Let's hope so. You will have only one problem.
Yes.
No, then you need to ask what is that?
A problem.
Yes, you will face a problem if you want me to bring you in the future.
I'm not sure what the problem would be.
Of course, you need to ask.
Yes. So what would the problem be?
The third years.
Yes.
They are pushing already.
Yeah.
But maybe, you know, who knows? We'll talk when I come.
Okay.
When I come, the third years, they are
Yeah.
already wanting to meet to lobby, you know, but you
Yeah.
can come and make your pitch.
I will definitely do that, Professor Santi.
You know what the convenience site is?
Pardon?
You know what the venue is for this
Yes.
lobbying sessions?
Yes, the benches in school.
Of course, you know me well.
Yes.
With the due sanitary restrictions, I probably won't be able to meet more than 2 at a time.
Yes.
Okay, we're ready for you, Antoinette.
Okay, so for me, I'm just making the closing remarks, and I'd really like to thank Sally for being our MC for today, and to thank all my colleagues for coordinating this welcoming session, Professor Santi. I'm sure he really enjoyed the session. I would also just like to briefly update Professor Santiago on the wonderful session that we had with Ms. Mukami and what we covered so far. So we talked about the place of freedom of religion and the law, and the church and state relationship as well. And we also looked into religious courts, and religious stress as well. And we also discussed pluralism and secularism, just understand what it entails generally. And we also looked into African perspectives between church and the state. And here we had a comparative analysis between Kenya, Zambia, and Tanzania. And furthermore, we also looked into decisions made by the European Court of Human Rights when it comes to the right to freedom of religion. And lastly, we discussed USA's Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause, which showed us how the exercise of freedom of religion is often dependent on relations between church and the state. And with that being said, in a nutshell, I would really like to keep Professor Santiago to take it from here. The screen is yours, Professor Santi, and we're happy to have you here, so thank you.
Thank you, Antoinette, very much. That was very useful. Let me ask you something, Antoinette.
Yes.
If I move here to the board, can you read what it says here?
I'm trying to look for you on my screen. Just give me a second.
Sure.
I don't know why I can't see you. I'm scrolling though.
Maybe.
Okay.
Fenan,
Found you.
Can you assist Fenan?
I think she can see you now, so
yeah, I can
I'll let
see.
her.
Yeah, I can see the board.
Can you read here?
Non multa. Non multa sed noctem.
Perfect. That means not many things, but much in the Latin language. That's what we're going to do in this class. As Antoinette has summarized it, you have done many things already with Mukami. Now with me, instead, you won't cover as many things. We'll go in depth only to cover a couple of things. Essentially, to dig deep into the two terms that define this unit: law and religion. But before we do that, we're going to have a session on Thursday in which we're going to touch upon the native Kenyan religions and the deformation of some of them. And that session will be in charge of a graduate of Strathmore Law School, a dear student who will now, if she's there, briefly introduce herself to you. And I mean Angela Omondi Kabarakian. Angie, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Santi. As Santi has introduced me, my name is Angela Omondi, a graduate from Strathmore. I'll be taking you through class on Thursday at a time like this, and we will look at native religions in Kenya. And I hope the class will be interactive, and I'm hoping to have a good lesson with you guys. That's all.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Angie. Let me clarify that when she said at a time like this, she meant at your 2:15, which is, so that you know, my 8:15, as I am 6 hours before you, which means that tomorrow with the advocates who have class tomorrow at 10:15 your time, Flora, what time will it be for me? Mike?
They're having their class at what time, sorry?
10:15 your time.
4 a.m., 4:15.
Yeah, how about that? Anyway, on Thursday, after Angie presents in a session in which I will also be present, because as you may know, when I do something like this, I afterwards offer the person feedback, which you may want to keep in mind in case you would like to present at some point. And in fact, I'm going to ask some of you to present on the pillars of Islam. As you might have noticed if you read the course outline, did you notice this, Chui?
Yes.
Right. So after Angie does her bit, we are all going to watch together a video, episode 1 of a show, a series, a mini series. As you know, if you've if you've been curious and looked at the course outline, it's called Brideshead Revisited. It is based on my favorite novel called Brideshead Revisited. And I've always found it useful for Strathmore students to understand some aspects of religion in this binomy, law and religion. And then after we watch that first episode, then I'll take you through the CAT for my part of the unit, which will be based on that video, unless you would like to draw. In usual years, as you know full well, there would be a contest called the Sweet 16, and people would draw posters on a prompt that I would give them to illustrate some issue pertaining to this unit, law and religion. Sadly, I'm afraid that the contest will not take place, but I have decided that I will still allow those of you who would prefer to draw. Now, again, under the circumstances, the general rule will be not to draw, but rather to do the CAT in the way I will explain on Thursday, but I will briefly anticipate now. That way consists of writing an essay, again, on a prompt that I will give you in due time, an essay of not less than 3 and not more than 5 pages. And the prompt for that essay will be fit to the show, Brideshead Revisited. So those who choose the writing option will watch the entire show. That's 11 episodes lasting 1 hour each approximately, and then produce that essay that they will email me. Among you, there might be persons who have, like me, a visual way of learning, and they may prefer to draw, but then under the circumstances, I have decided that if you would like to opt out of the default CAT delivery, which will be the essay, you need to feel comfortable with and able to come to Strathmore to bring your poster, your drawing to the benches, to me, and explain it to me on your own or with someone else. Now this, of course, goes back to what Flora said earlier to you, and it would be an opportunity to zip a cappuccino and chat a bit. This opt-out, however, is, like everything these days, subject to its practical implementation, which will depend partly on how many people would like to do it. So what you'll do is between today and tomorrow at the same time, that is in the next 24 hours, if you would like to draw, you will send me an email expressing that preference. If you don't send me that email, then it means you are in the writing team, which is perfect. And if you send me the email, it means that I will let you know if I can accommodate your request. Either writing or drawing are perfect options. The only one I can guarantee to you is writing. But if you would like to apply for drawing, I will consider your application. What I'll do is I'll put all the applications in a basket of sorts. I have already 14 out of 63 applications for the advocates class. Then I'll take those in the attorneys class, and then I'll let you know. Is there any question about this? Great. So to review, Thursday, we start with Angie. We watch episode 1, regardless of whether we draw or not. And then I explain to you in more detail the CAT, writing or drawing. Unless someone has a question regarding this, I'll move on.
Professor Santi, there are 2 questions here.
Sorry.
Hang on, Fanan. Yes, Mariam, go ahead.
My connection, you're a bit static, so I didn't quite hear what you said about the drawing. Are we drawing on the same topic as what we would be writing on?
Okay, thank you. Fanan, your questions?
No, I was just going to point you to the fact that 2 people had raised their hands.
Oh, thank you.
So I think Jael's hand is up. She can ask a question.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Who are these 2 people?
It was Mariam and Jael, but Mariam has already asked, so I think we can let Jael ask her question.
Yes, thank you, Fanan. Jael?
I was going to ask whether if you opt to do the drawing, if we'd be given the same duration as the people who are going to be writing the paper. Yeah.
Yes, the due date will be the same. So, Mariam, what is your question again?
I was wondering whether the topic of the drawing would be the same as the topic of what we would be writing on, should we choose the writing option.
Okay, I haven't said that yet, so you're good. And the answer is, for the most part, I don't know. I'll just say for now that the topic will be in the same ballpark, law and religion. Probably not exactly the same, as the writing one will be fit to the show. The drawing one will be unrelated to the show. But both will deal essentially with the same, law and religion. Does anyone have, you're welcome, does anyone have any other question before I move on?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was asking, is this essay a write-up, a handwritten essay, or is typing?
Typed.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. So, Khalil, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Habari ya Zuburi.
Nzuri sana. Bariak.
Nzuri. Or is it Habari ya Jioni there?
Yeah, Dion.
Okay. How's Coast?
Yeah, I'm in the coast.
How is Coast?
How is coast?
No virus?
I barely leave the house, but I hear some cases here and there, but not, I guess it depends on where you live. In my area, it's not so bad.
You see, what Khalil says is relevant for the possibility of choosing. If you can barely leave your house for whatever reason, for example, because you're in coast or because your parents are not happy with that, or because you don't want to leave the house, then you write, you don't draw. Khalil, did you watch the video for today?
I watched the first 45 minutes, but then my internet has been giving me problems, and plus I've been having power outages, so I didn't get to watch the rest.
Well, when you do, which you should, then you will find that there is a final, more or less hilarious section called Questions Without Answers. Questions by me addressed to the pioneers. I can notice Antoinette smiling, so she probably saw it. One of the questions is, where is the Strathmore Law Review? The reason being that there was in the pioneer class a person called Benedict Nzioki. Ever heard of him, Khalil?
Not to my knowledge, no, I've not heard of him.
Well, imagine he was your virtual predecessor, the editor-in-chief of a project that in the end did not happen, called the Strathmore Law Review.
I've heard about that.
And then, and then it resurrected with a new editor-in-chief. I forget if it was Cecil. Who was the editor-in-chief for the first volume?
Cecil.
Right, so this is before his days, so that you understand the joke.
Okay.
Right. It says, yeah, Imani, yeah, whatever. I told you I'd rather have you, Finan, not chat during class. It distracts me and everyone. I can see all the advantages of doing it. I'd
My
rather...
apologies.
No, not at all. We are starting to get to re-know each other, and it's difficult to rewire your brains as you've been used to doing it with approval by other instructors, I'm sure. Speaking of which, Fenan, here it says with my very horrible handwriting here, sequential multitasking. So the alternative to multitasking is not necessarily doing just one thing. A better alternative is sequential multitasking. For me, it's very useful to always have somewhere where I can take a note and I put something there for immediately afterwards. For example, I need to talk to Flora after this. I could chat with her as I deliver with you, but that won't be efficient. I'll get distracted. I'll distract her. So I made a note, Flora, or email Santi, Imani was part of the team, whatever, you know. This is only an example. There are exceptions for everything. So all the writers on flow, with which you may be familiar, Carl Newport and so on, they say this is the best. It's when the brain is at its most. Here you see, we have Kiai breaking the rule and distracting me. I'll have to, you know, say things that will annoy you as usual if I would like to help in your education and correct you and give you a hard time and not be nice, right, Chewy?
Right. Right.
Imagine, hadn't I been not nice with Chewy, we wouldn't be in good terms today. We would simply have ignored each other, which is what happens when people are nice to each other. Oh, there are so many examples of that in my history with education in general and with Strathmore in particular. And if you watch that video, you will understand it so well, the video for today, on which there is an idea there. I know the sound is horrible, but there is an idea there that is very important for this class. And it's the idea of the role of description and the role of evaluation when it comes to determine what a certain state of affairs is. For example, in the class, in the video, law. What is the role of describing that state of affairs called law in order to determine what is law, and what is the role of judging, evaluating what's going on with a view to determining the same, what is law? Or put differently, and this is law and religion, my friends, law. So we're gonna go back to intro to law, to jurisprudence. Put differently, what's the role of description to determine the central case of a state of affairs, for example, law, and what's the role of evaluation in determining the same? All of what I've just said, we can apply it to the other term of our binomy, religion. what is the role of describing what is statistically prevailing under the name of religion in determining what religion really is, and what is the role of assessing, evaluating what's going on under the name of religion in order to determine what religion really is? Or, in other words, what is the role of statistics, of facts, in order to tell apart the central case of religion from watered down versions of religion? So we did it first with law, now with religion, and with Angie, you'll have a sneak preview of central case of native Kenyan religions and watered down versions on which she wrote her dissertation to graduate in Strathmore Law School, which Mukami supervised and I had the pleasure to read and comment on. Perhaps you should ask her, but perhaps she asked me if I could comment, although I wasn't the supervisor, because I hadn't been nice when I had her in Intro to Law, so maybe that's why she remembered me. You can also perhaps ask her the present which, together with one of her friends, she dared leave on my desk at the basement of MSC when she finished Intro to Law. Though she's a shy person and I don't think you'll get that story on Thursday, but you can try. Now, to give you a third example outside of the law and religion context, given that I'll spend all of my second week with you with the central case and the watered down versions of law, and all of my third week with you with the central case and the watered down versions of religion, that is when I will be in Kenya, with the help of God Almighty. I will be in Kenya from next week, but in quarantine. Then after 2 weeks comes my second week with you. That's what I meant. The third state of affairs, but you can apply this analysis and the description, evaluation, central case, watered down versions analysis to any other state of affairs, human, such as tribe, nation, constitution, you name it, business. What's the central case of, etc. But now let me use the favorite example of Aristotle's in the Nicomachean Ethics. His favorite example to deploy his central case analysis. Does anyone know what this example is? Totally unrelated to law and religion. Okay, I'll take that as a no. His example is friendship. Friendship. And he says that we call friend many different persons, but some are deserve better the name friend than others. There is a central case of friendship, and there are other instances, call them peripheral, watered down of friendship where you call someone your friend, but well, yeah, he's a friend broadly speaking. For example, my business partner, is he a friend? Well, up to a point. You know, I was thinking earlier when Stacy was saying that she would pay Anne her waking up functions with her friendship. I mean, I'm sure they are the real thing, but outside the reality of their connection, if you cannot pay someone with your friendship unless you mean it in a watered down sense. So Safaricom is not your friend. You know, they'll say, hello, friend. Yeah, you pay. Whenever you pay, that's not the central case of friendship. Now, there is an example, an extreme example by Professor Finnis in chapter 6 of Natural Law, Natural Rights. He says, when mommy opens a wardrobe or a cupboard and finds daughter with a boy kissing and says, what is this? Daughter says, oh, he's a cupboard friend. Well, it would be unfair to say that the cupboard friend is not a friend at all. But at the same time, it would be unfair to call him friend in the same way Flora calls Antoinette a friend. So you see how the same concept applies with different degrees of intensity. And the same happens with law, and the same happens with religion. And that's what we will explore. Pole, without rushing, because we will do just a bit, much, not many. In chapter 1 of his book, Natural Law and Natural Rights, Professor Finnis deals with the problem of evaluation and description in jurisprudence, the problem Khalil, the video for today, deals with. And in chapter 2 of his book, Aquinas' Moral, Political, and Legal Theory, he revisits the same 18 years later, in my opinion, in a way easier for you. I have assigned you both readings for different classes. And they are difficult readings, which is why I'm going to take you through those topics in class as well and offer the opportunity to you to ask me questions in class about the readings when they come up in the outline. Any question about this? This is only by way of introduction. Of course, what I've just said, I'll revisit these topics, but still, if there is questions, for example, if someone wants to know, can a boyfriend be called a friend? Or can a Nigerian husband be called a friend, those are fair questions. It means you're starting to understand. In the advocates, there were people under the illusion or the delusion that, of course, a husband is always a friend. Just kidding. Hopefully, he should be. Right. I will teach this course, or the part of it that it's for me, with the exam in the back of my mind. I don't like surprises for you. I wouldn't want you to be taken by surprise by a question in the exam. So you need to know that while I talk to you, while I give you materials to read, the exam question is already here in my mind. And you will be well prepared if you are active, if you do not do multitasking during my lessons, if you have your camera on, which makes it easier for you to be alert, if only because I can see you, and you might fear the embarrassment of my exposing that I can see that you're texting or distracted in the same way I would in class. I mean, for me, a Zoom class with a camera off, and to an extent, even with a mic off, it's like listening to the radio, you know? You can do other things, etc. But when you listen to a radio, it's not because you want to learn. You just want like a background noise. Well, I'm not here for that. And at the same time, I don't have the ability to enforce anything. I won't, you know, I'll just teach. I'll teach for those of you who I can see. The rest, I'll see you the day of the exam. Now you may have connectivity problems, some of you. Well, you know, life is hard and life is always unfair and unjust. I mean, what can I do? I just do my bit. I won't tell you, well, move to your cousin's place, or Khalil, go to a cyber cafe. I won't tell you those things. You know what you ought to do. You know what you can do. You know what your parents allow you to do. You know how much you can spend in fixing your technological problems. And then even some are completely unsurmountable. I've had them as well. But when they happen, then I won't be telling myself that that's a good thing or that is the default. I will cry. I will cry. I don't think that people who are routinely with their camera off are crying, unless that's the reason they are with the camera off, so that we don't see their tears. Anyways, guys, Fenan, what does it say here? Can you see?
Where? Sorry.
Here.
I can see pole pole, and I can see the non multa said not noctum, but I can't see anything else. I can see friendship.
Okay, here. You see my finger?
A bit. I see the top of your finger. I can't see anything below it.
Okay. It says prima abbreviata. It's the beginning of a Latin tag in the Middle Ages University, which I might have told you in our first day of Introduction to Law. Prima abbreviata, ultima non data, which means the first lecture is always shorter and the last, you get rid of it.
Okay.
So before I call it a day, let me just say to you, in case you don't know, that law and religion as a unit in law schools has become an extremely popular affair. At Notre Dame Law School, where I teach every year as a visiting professor, the new dean, who is an African-American, Marcus Cole, he was in Kenya last year and he was delighted. He's an awesome guy. He has just got a gift from a former student of $40 million, which he has decided that they'll be spent in a law and religion institute within the law school. At Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, a similar thing is going on. And if Anne or Timothy or Jael will send me a reminder, I can share with you an email I got recently from Emory on the Law and Religion journal they have. Now there are maybe 20 law and religion journals in the US. This is one example. In Europe, in Oxford, there is vast law and religion activity. I only say this in case you wonder, as you rightfully might, what are we doing here? Is this like a first communion preparation class? Why do my friends at the University of Nairobi not have something like this? Well, now you know. Now you know why. We are the best. Bye, guys. See you on Thursday. Thank you for everything. It was great.